rock and her brother bullets to the head. Let me handle
Whoever
her.
bet against me is lost. What's out here? Snaps and pipes into
But the
seeds.
streets ain't ours no more. We marked
You're
up.
dedicated.
I'ma handle it.
No, fine.
She's gonna do something crazy, Kanan.
Kanan just like the game. The more you push, the further away that shit gon' get.
Power Book 3, Raising Kanan Season 5, Episode 7 is about to change everything. And if you thought this final season already hit hard, nothing has prepared you for what's coming in an episode literally titled Penultimate means second to last. That title alone should be setting off alarm bells in your head right now, because in the world of Raising Kanan, second to last has never once meant safe. It has always meant blood. It has always meant somebody you've watched for years is about to disappear from this story forever. And with only 2 episodes standing between us and the end of Kanan Stark's entire journey, Episode 7 is not just another hour of television. It is the moment where every lie, every betrayal, and every ounce of loyalty in Queens finally gets tested at the same time. Let's talk about where things stand right now, because the pressure building on every single character in this show has reached a boiling point. Rack is fighting to hold on to control of a Manhattan network she built with her own hands, and that control is slipping through her fingers faster than she can grab it back. Alliances she once trusted are crumbling in real time. Business partners she thought were locked in are quietly looking for exits. And the one person who was supposed to be loyal to her above everyone else, her own son, has become the very thing threatening to tear her empire apart. Kanan is no longer the boy hiding in his mother's shadow. He is becoming something colder, something more ruthless. And that transformation is exactly what this episode is going to explore in devastating detail. Here's what makes this moment so tense. Stefano has been circling Rack's territory for what feels like an eternity, and his anger toward her has clouded every decision he's made. But now we are seeing him make a move that could either be his smartest play yet or the mistake that finally gets him killed. Stefano has started aligning himself with Hafiz, the same business partner who was once tied to Rack's operation, and he is offering to handle her once and for all. Think about what that means. This is not a random side conversation. This is a direct declaration that Stefano is done waiting in the shadows. He wants Rack gone, and he believes Hafiz is the key to making that happen. If you know anything about how this show operates, you know that when a character starts making bold declarations like that, the universe of Raising Kanan usually responds with violence. But here's where it gets even more interesting. There is a moment where Rack herself says something that should send chills down your spine. She says that anybody who has ever bet against her has lost. Now, that is not just a throwaway line for dramatic effect. That is a warning. That is Rack telling everyone around her, and telling us as the audience that she has survived worse than this, and she is not going down without taking people with her. The question we all need to be asking right now is whether that confidence is justified, or whether this is the moment her luck finally runs out. Because if Stefano is coming for her with Hafiz's backing, and if his anger has already been shown to push him into reckless decisions, there is a very real chance this confrontation ends with someone's blood on the floor before the episode is even halfway done. And that brings us to Kanan, because everything happening with Rack and Stefano is only half of what's exploding in this episode. Breeze has started questioning Kanan's loyalty, and that conversation is happening at the worst possible time for Kanan, because there are secrets bubbling underneath the surface that could destroy the fragile trust holding this entire alliance together. The timing of this confrontation is not an accident. Every relationship Kanan has built over this season is about to be pulled in different directions, and he is going to be forced to prove exactly where his loyalty truly lies, whether that's with the family that raised him, or with the man who has become his closest ally in the streets. Now let's talk about Jukebox, because her storyline in this episode might end up being the most heartbreaking transformation we see before the series ends. For weeks, Jukebox has been digging, pulling favors, working every connection she has to find out exactly who was responsible for Fame's death. And she finally got her answer. The truth came at a devastating cost because the person who handed her that information paid for it with everything they had. That is how dangerous this information is. That is how far people are willing to go to keep the truth buried. And now that Jukebox knows the reality of what happened, she is not the same person she was at the start of this season. She has crossed a line and there is no walking it back. What makes this so gut-wrenching is what we are about to see her do with that knowledge. Jukebox is not the type to sit quietly with information like this. She has already been seen preparing herself, getting ready, gearing up in a way that tells us she is done waiting for justice to come to her. She is going to go after the people responsible herself. And when Kanan finds out what she is planning, there is no version of this story where he lets her walk into that danger alone. He is going to go with her, not because he wants to, but because protecting her has become the one thing in his life that still feels black and white in a world that has turned every other relationship gray. Together, they are walking into something that could either make them unstoppable or completely unravel everything they have left. But here is the part that should really worry you if you have been rooting for Kanan and Jukebox this entire series. The moment they succeed in getting their revenge, something inside Jukebox is going to break. She did not sign up for this. She did not sign up to become someone who kills without hesitation, and once the adrenaline fades and the reality of what she has done sets in, she is going to look at herself differently. She is going to look at Kanan differently, because the man standing next to her after this is not the boy she used to know. He has become someone who moves through violence like it is second nature, and that realization is going to terrify her. This could be the beginning of the end for their relationship, and it might be the exact moment that pushes Jukebox toward the badge, toward becoming the very thing she once swore she would never be. If that happens, imagine the weight of that irony. The girl who grew up surrounded by the streets, who lost people she loved to this life, ending up on the other side of the law, working against the very family that raised her. Meanwhile, on the other side of this war, Marvin is dealing with a different kind of pressure entirely. He has been openly frustrated, admitting that their grip on the streets has weakened, that the empire they once controlled without question is now something they have to fight to hold on to every single day. That kind of admission from Marvin is significant because he is not someone who easily shows weakness. When a character like Marvin starts voicing frustration out loud, it usually means the walls are closing in faster than he can control. But do not count him out yet. There is a very real possibility that everything happening around him, the chaos with Stefano, the instability surrounding Rack, the shifting alliances everywhere, actually creates an opening for Marvin and Rack to reclaim power they thought was gone. Sometimes the moment right before everything falls apart is the same moment someone claws their way back to the top. And that is exactly what makes this episode so unpredictable. Every single character is standing on the edge of a decision that could either save them or destroy them completely. Rack is fighting to keep her empire from crumbling. Stefano is gambling everything on a partnership that could either make him powerful or get him killed. Kanan is being pulled between the family that raised him and the man who is reshaping who he is becoming. Jukebox is stepping into a version of herself she never wanted to be. And Marvin is watching for any crack in the chaos that he can use to rebuild everything they have lost. None of these paths are safe. None of these characters are guaranteed to make it out of this episode the same person they were when it started. Here's Section 3, the closing. Now let's get to the moment everyone has been waiting for. Because if this episode really is titled Penultimate means second to last, then Breeze's role in everything that's coming next cannot be overstated. Breeze has been the one steady hand trying to keep this entire world from collapsing into full-scale war. But even he has his limits. Once Kanan and Jukebox make their move, once the truth about what happened to Fame is finally settled, the only way this world knows how Breeze is going to feel something he has not felt in a long time. Fury. Not the kind of anger that fades in a few hours, but the kind that reshapes how a man sees the people closest to him. And when Breeze confronts Kanan about what he has done, do not expect Kanan to back down. Expect him to stand there and justify it. Expect him to say the words that have defined his entire arc this season. That they are family, that family protects each other no matter the cost, that some deaths are simply the price of reaching the top. But here is what should genuinely worry you. Breeze is not going to accept that explanation. He has heard every excuse, every justification, every version of loyalty twisted into something that benefits the person saying it. And if Breeze stops believing Kanan's words, everything changes. From that point forward, Breeze may no longer see Kanan as a partner he trusts. He may start seeing him as someone who needs to be controlled, someone who answers to him without question from now on. And if that shift happens, there is a terrifying possibility waiting on the other side of it. Breeze could demand that Kanan turn his violence toward Rack and Marvin, forcing him to choose between the man who shaped who he has become and the family that raised him from the very beginning. Imagine being Kanan in that moment, standing between two worlds that both demand your loyalty, knowing that whichever side you choose, you are going to lose something you can never get back. And that is exactly why this episode matters so much. With only 1 hour left after this before the entire series comes to an end, penultimate means second to last, is not just a clever title. It is a promise. It is stars telling us directly that everything we watch in this episode is going to collide head-on with the finale, and there will be no turning back from whatever happens here. Every relationship that has carried this show for 5 seasons, Kanan and Rack, Kanan and Jukebox, Kanan and Breeze, is being pushed to its absolute breaking point at the exact same time. Someone is going to die in this episode. Someone's loyalty is going to be tested and shattered. And by the time the credits roll, the version of these characters we have known since the very beginning may not exist anymore. Think about how far this story has come. We watched Kanan grow up in these streets, torn between wanting to protect the people he loves and becoming exactly the kind of man his mother always feared he would turn into. We watched Jukebox fight to hold on to her humanity in a world designed to strip it away from her. We watched Rack build an empire out of nothing, only to watch it slip through her fingers piece by piece. And now, in this episode, all of that history is coming due at once. There is no more room left to delay the inevitable. There is no more room for anyone in this story to avoid the consequences of who they have chosen to become. So here is the question you need to sit with before this episode airs. When the smoke clears, who is still standing? Is it Rack, using every ounce of the power she has left to survive one more war? Is it Stefano, whose reckless anger might finally catch up to him? Or is it Kanan, standing at the top of everything he has fought for, only to realize the cost of getting there was everything and everyone he once loved? Because in this world, winning and losing have never looked the same, and by the end of this episode, you may not even be able to tell the difference anymore. This is one of those moments in television where you genuinely will not know what to feel once it's over: relief, heartbreak, shock, maybe all three at once. That is exactly why you cannot afford to miss this episode, and why you need to be right back here with us the moment it airs, because we are going to break down every single second of what happens, every death, every betrayal, every twist that changes the direction of this final season forever. If this breakdown had you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel keep bringing you this kind of deep, honest analysis every single week. Subscribe if you have not already, because we are covering every episode of this final season all the way to the very end, and you do not want to miss what's coming. And down in the comments, I want to hear from you. Who do you think dies in this episode? Do you think Kanan chooses Breeze or chooses his own family? Let me know everything you're thinking down below, because this conversation is just getting started.